Non-introducturhy, not unmindful of the future, is the motto of my undergraduate institution down in the beautiful Shenandoah Valley. And right next door to the educational institution where Governor Ralph Northam attended. Ralph graduated the same year that I matriculated in Lexington, and even in my years in Rockbridge County, we witnessed sweeping changes in education as the cherished traditions of all boys and all girls schools slipped into the past, replaced by what Forrest Gump called boys and girls together schools. It was a change brought with some unrest and struggle, but nowhere near the turmoil that gripped a nation almost a generation before. A very famous case was decided in the middle of May 1954 to change both education and America itself, just as today education is undergoing a great upheaval through a pandemic crisis. But at this time of year, most students are focusing on those things about which students focus. A change that has denied them the opportunity to play games in high school athletics, missing the opportunity to attend a prom, and cancellation of commencement exercises, and the opportunity to don a cap and gown, say farewell to friends, make parents proud, and celebrate for a graduation into the next phase of life, whatever that may bring. Be it further education, a new job, or the military, a dangerous but bold future. But it is also a time when, gripped by fear of what lay ahead, both schools and libraries have closed their doors on the word of parents and adults, on indefinite vacation until conditions return to a sense of normal and safe. What a commencement address. But in May 1954, not unmindful of the future, Chief Justice Warren Burger, writing the opinion for the Burger Court, observed that today, education is perhaps the most important function of state and local governments. Compulsory school attendance laws and the great expenditures for education both demonstrate our recognition of the importance of education to our democratic society. It is required in the performance of most basic public responsibilities, even service in the armed forces. It is the very foundation of good citizenship. Today it is a principal instrument in awakening the child to cultural values, in preparing him for later professional training, and in helping him to adjust normally to his environment. In these days, it is doubtful that any child may reasonably be expected to succeed in life if he is denied the opportunity of an education. Such an opportunity, where the state has undertaken to provide it, is a right which must be made available to all on equal terms. But today, lacking the courage of those who pushed that question all the way to the Supreme Court, both the libraries and the school doors are closed, with both students and teachers out for an extended summer education until it becomes safe to graduate and move forward. The battles of adults over education during pandemic times are various and sundry, ranging from granting students a degree without fulfillment of standards to reconfiguring the classroom space in the future when the schools are finally reopened to create a safer space for learning and social distance and online learning. But it is simply a continuation of an ongoing argument about making it easier and more convenient to engage in rigorous study, for students to acquire a credential or token to permit entry to the next door of opportunity, an entitlement, and gross neglect of the rigorous and daring quest to engage in a search for truth, setting out to sea aboard a sturdy vessel, boldly going where no man has gone before, and rebuilding it again while adrift as the gush of the seas rush up to splash upon your face. The very definition one college professor once gave us for the word philosophy. Don Byer and I both attended elite private colleges, but we both developed very different viewpoints on education. His presidential nominee, Joe Biden, has promised $70 billion for historically black colleges and universities, But while no one believes that money is inherently evil, I disagree with dumping money into colleges where students arrive so unprepared that less than a quarter graduate in the traditional four-year program. And at schools not even close to the competitiveness as the colleges from which both Don and I graduated. Don and most in his party supported spending millions of dollars to change the names of public school facilities. But my mama used to say, back in the day when we had parents that we listened to, sticks and stones will break your bones. And a persisting achievement gap that denies children of color an education to a greater degree than any past history that is not even understood by most students in the nation's failing public schools. And erasing the past while not mindful of the future. The failures in education are becoming more apparent in pandemic times, on the faces of persons always wearing masks against a pathogen that lacks an airborne capability. It has become apparent in a conscious decision to upend the economy and financial markets, creating the equivalent of a Hurricane Katrina in every state, despite the fact that in the Commonwealth of Virginia, there is not even one county or municipality that has incurred enough fatalities to warrant a status of a local epidemic by the Centers for Disease Control. And these irrational decisions began only to make more sense when it was discovered that in an affirmative action, Norman Oliver, the state health commissioner, has provided no evidence that he ever attended college and may have somehow obtained his position because no one performed the due diligence to complete a universal background check on an education, his undergraduate education, very much like a case upon which I worked as a paralegal in Philadelphia, involving a psychiatrist who managed to evade a thorough credential check, creating a substantial risk to patients with severe mental and emotional problems, but will run a universal background check on someone with a gun. And no responsible adult would call that, in education, a success story. Non-introducturhy, not unmindful of the future, is the motto of Washington Lee University. With honor, excellence, and liberty, by God, we shall make America great again. Honest. This advertisement was authorized by Mike Webb.